Commissioner Hoffmeister?
Here.
Commissioner Houts?
Yeah.
Commissioner Collins? Thank you.
Approval of the agenda. I'll make that move. We have a motion and support.
Yeah.
From Commissioner Houts. All in favor with an aye? Aye. Opposed the same. Motion carries. Public comment. We have no public. Therefore, we have no comment. Should I do do we have anybody on the phone?
No.
It's a Branch County thing.
You watch our meeting.
Yeah. Hazel Baker do that at random meetings. She's sharing. Is anybody on the phone? No, sir. We don't have anybody on the phone. We don't even have a phone. Okay.
But you're surprised how many people actually zoom in on their meetings instead of coming down.
Yeah. Do you give them public comment space
Yeah, they raise their hand.
on the Zoom? Oh wow.
We're official.
You guys are. You guys are good. Unfinished business. We have none. New business. Here we go. AIP budget.
What's that acronym mean?
Yes, well, I'd be happy to share a little bit of a background for Commissioner Collins, since this is your first sort of view at the planning document that we submit. But sort of as a designated area agency on aging, we have to submit a plan for the federal and state dollars that are allocated to us every year. Every 3 years, there's an even larger plan document that sets the pace for the next couple of years. This is an update to that multi-year contract or that multi-year plan. So this is just next year's plan in a budget format that is new to some of your more tenured board members. It looks a little bit different because they've retooled it, simplified it, and then inserted, what are those called? Pivot tables in Excel, which I am not versed in.
Yeah.
However, it spit out the way that it needed to, and I doubled and triple checked it. But so this outlines all those federal and state dollars. It also outlines by service category how many of those dollars are allocated to each service that we fund in our 2 counties. It also outlines the match that providers and we.
Why doesn't mine look like yours?
Well, I just turned over the,
Oh,
the
okay.
first page there. Sorry.
First raise, okay.
It's still decided. It also outlines the match because everybody that gets these grant dollars has to match at 13 or greater %. And then it also includes the donations that providers are expecting for the services that they provide. So program income is also included in these figures and this estimate. And as Teresa likes to say frequently, you know, this is just a snapshot of a point in time, and we are not planning any major shifts or expecting major shifts in funding at this point. We're
expecting bigger fun next time.
Unfortunately not. This is the way it's prescribed. I too have to really zoom in. And so, you know, we're sort of prescribed what we're anticipated to get from the state. So this outlines those anticipated funds, does not share any major increases or decreases in where we're going to put those dollars, and keeps providers at the pretty much the same level as they've been funded for the last 2 years. So
Makes sense. Any questions for Ms. Laura?
I think the only thing that's different is there's a no adult day
Mm.
program in either of the 2 counties. We did have an adult day program at Thurston Woods, but if you may remember during the last fiscal year, we had conversations about they were ending that program. So any funding that Laura had put aside for that has been reallocated. Is that safe to say?
actually, it's still in there, Rebecca, because the state asks us to keep it there. But we're going to look at different contracting methods to be able to allow families to utilize the adult day or the respite actually that they're looking for, just in a different way. So we may buy hours of respite care or maybe buy a couple nights stay at a local assisted living or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
So we may reallocate it mid-year depending on where the budget falls and what actually comes through in terms of our contract. But for now, we're just kind of planning to keep the dollars sort of targeted at adult day, but we're just going to purchase it differently. We're not going to put it out and put it to the board in the term of contract. So we're not going to contract it.
Because we don't have anybody that,
Because we don't have a potential bidder that's saying, yes, I would like to start up a new adult day program. You know,
even though you've asked.
oh, well, I've just nudged again, so.
In the past, we've talked about COA and kind of the funding that we're sending their way. Does this book, can you talk a little bit about that? I know it's been kind of up in the air in past budgets. Is there any kind of update on that?
No, I mean, we've been able to keep them funded at the same levels that they've, hoped for. Unfortunately, it has trickled in differently. Maybe that's what maybe you're thinking more about, because we've had to hold payment on some of their grant activities because we don't have a full federal award, for example, this year. Last year it was month to month to month, so we really honed in allowing them and requiring them to only bill a 12th of their grant funds, which was a little unsettling for a bit, but then they were able to plan around it. And it just helps when you only get a month at a time. You can't just keep
Yeah,
You know,
good stuff.
paying the
And
total that they're asking for.
Right, and the federal portion has been withheld over like since February.
Yeah.
So February, March, April, we've only gotten in our statement of grant award, which Laura gets those occasionally. When we are getting those award notifications, we're only getting the state portion, not getting the federal portion right now. So for 3 months, we have only gotten the state portion, which has caused Laura to reach out to the CLAs and say, we don't have those funds. We can't pay you right now.
And the transit providers actually, both transit providers had to hold their bills for this last month, and potentially will need to hold their bill for their May rides, for example.
So what happens with that funding then? Is that just temporarily on hold or?
It's temporary. They're waiting for the staff that were let go at the federal level that knew how to process these notices of award based on the last continuing resolution that Congress passed. They let them go and then they rehired them because they realized who's going to get this money out. So they brought them back and they're in the process. So we're expecting it any time. It will of course come when I'm not unavailable.
Your expectation.
I will have a draft email that our, Rebecca can send to providers to say, yes, you may submit, your bills.
And then it will
Because we
back
have-
pay. For the,
Yes.
But you may be hearing some concern
Sure.
from our provider, the ones that we have contracts with, because, we've had to tell them we don't have the money to pay.
There's nothing we can do about it yet.
Right,
There's.
And it is a concern. I mean,
yeah,
Sure.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully they're able to make some adjustments temporarily. The good news is that money is still being promised. They're still indicating, the state is telling us, and Ashley has said that when she's been here, that it's just not here yet, but it's coming. So
do you think after January's budget that it will continue the funding? Federal or-
We don't know what next October will
Yeah.
will bring. Yeah, we're on the traditional fiscal year, so
Yep.
October 1 starts our new year, and with the way things have been quote unquote leaked by the executive office in Washington D.C., it does not look encouraging. So there's a lot of contingency planning that providers and area agencies are doing across the country to try to mitigate any, loss of funding or drastic changes. So we're all going to remain hopeful. As Rebecca shared with the leadership team last week, we need to, try to remain hopeful and positive. And those that would like to advocate, let us know. I would be more than happy to tell you how many people are waiting for meals and in-home services and how providers are being affected, because they have every right to not bring on new clients and tell the existing clients we're going to have to reduce services because we don't have the funds to pay our aides to come and provide, you home care. So it's a very difficult and uncomfortable situation.
yeah.
That's for sure.
So what I've, told our team is that, remember, this is just a proposed budget at this point. The federal proposed budget from the Trump administration may not look like that at the end of the day. It's just a proposal. So there are some things in there that would hurt public health, that would hurt area agency on aging. So, but again, it's just a proposed budget. It's not done yet, so hold on.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the second page, where it's titled expenditures by service and fund category, there's small percentages at the very top of each of those columns. So you can see where the revenue comes from in terms of, the federal portion is just over 29% of our budget. The state is just about, 33.5%. Medicaid is a very small portion. Donations, also called program income, around 14%. The local dollars that play into this, which are in kind, as well as some cash that each of the counties contribute, is around 19%. So that kind of gives you the snapshot. And then the administrative side of things, we're not, again, anticipating any major changes there. But our admin is less than 10%. So that's always a good number to hit.
very good. Okay, action on this, just recommending it to the full board. Is that what we're gonna do? Okay,
You gonna do it?
Don't care, I would,
okay.
I recommend it.
Commissioner Collins, Commissioner House with the support. Further discussion? All in favor with an eye? Aye. Opposed, the same. We are recommending it to the full board. Okay, very good. Item B, temporary staffing for non-community water, non-community water, yep.
So non-community water is a public water supply that doesn't quite meet the criteria of municipal. So the city of Coldwater, the city of Hillsdale, city of Three Rivers, all are municipal type 1 supplies. A non-community water supply is considered a type 2. So still public, but not quite, doesn't serve quite as many people. We have 2 staff members that are dedicated to our non-community water supply program here at the agency. And then, of course, some support from Joe and Kyle, who would support that program. There are a lot of paper records. And this particular year, we've identified that there will be some funding that would allow us to hire some part-time temporary workers to just come in and help us get that digitization of those records taken care of. So what we would like to do is gain your permission to seek those 2 individuals and bring them on. They would be paid out of existing type 2 money. And again, they would be part-time and temporary. So the cost to hire them is exceptionally low.
Yeah.
He's already in the budget.
It is, the money is there, yes.
Keep the Hillsdale guy. He'll be all over that.
Yeah,
Well, we're working on a budget amendment, so I wouldn't say at this point necessarily that it's in the budget, but
grant dollars for it.
but when that budget amendment comes to you next month,
Yeah,
yeah,
be a part of that.
if you approve it.
If we recommend it to the full.
Yes.
I'm gonna recommend we take it to the full.
Commissioner House with the motion. Do we have a second with Commissioner Collins? Any further discussion? All in favor with an eye?
Aye.
Opposed, the same. Very good. Motion passes. C, FY 23-24 amended audit.
Yeah, so at the last board meeting, we had talked with the audit provider and indicated that we had found an error in the budget. It didn't affect the expenses. It didn't affect the revenues. It was only in the budget. So we have made those corrections. The only changes to this draft are on page 7, where it talks about the budget, and then on page 33 of the audit, which is actually page 42 of the packet, those original and final budget numbers were corrected to match what the board. Otherwise, it's all the same.
So page 16 in the packet and page 42 in the packet?
Yes.
Okay.
Glad we got that amended. Should make everybody happy. So I'm gonna boldly take this new amended, corrected copy forward and make everybody happy.
There you go. We have a motion. Do we have support? We have support from Commissioner Collins. Any further discussion? All in favor with an eye? All opposed, the same. Motion carries. Very good. We're efficient, if anything. Public comment, number 5. We again have the public comment.
I got a question though.
Commissioner comment.
Project Fresh, or whatever it's called, now they're not gonna have the vouchers, it's gonna be a card, right?
Correct.
So the vendors at farmer's market would need to get what? The
Just an app.
square?
Just an app. They, to my understanding, that they'll be able to just scan it or input it on their Android or Apple.
What app is that?
I don't even know. But
You're
I can
gonna
get
find
you.
out.
I can get you the link.
Cause actually I have a meeting Thursday. And then since I sell honey, I had to accept those, so I had the voucher and our rules say, at the end of the day, I just take the voucher up, they reimburse me. But if they're not gonna have that paper voucher anymore, then I need to be set up,
Right.
cause I do Venmo, but that's not, obviously not what I need.
Right. The link is on an update that we received from the Bureau. They're still anticipating a June 1 rollout. They were hesitant to say that though, so I'm kind of, it may not happen and be ready to go by then. But I do have an update I can share that gives you I think there's a QR code and a link in the document, but I can send it to you.
Yeah, then I can pass it on to the other vendors.
Great. And is this a part of the Coldwater Farmers Market as a whole that you're?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that the only one we have in Branch
In
County?
Branch County at this point, yes.
What's that?
Yep. So this year it's so different. They're relying on the farmers themselves, and the older adults themselves to do everything on their own for, claiming the vouchers and then signing up for the vouchers. So we're not involved. Like we have no involvement in
They get a senior to do that.
distributing them, right? But I know that our senior centers are also signed up as community partners. So if somebody were to have a problem or need some help or to, have somebody just kind of watch over what they're doing online if they're feeling nervous, they're both planning to do that, I've heard. And we'll certainly do that here as well, but you have to have an email address and it's going to send you a verification code, but they will get a card in the mail and they'll just be able to swipe it or show the QR code to the farmer and the farmer will say, yep, it was $7.95, and down to the penny they're saying reimbursement can happen. Whereas in the past you'd have to use a $5 increment.
Right.
And you'd miss out on it. So it's going to benefit the senior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and this time too, as on the farmer and the vendor end, you're going to get reimbursed quicker too. I think they're saying within 2 weeks you should see your reimbursement. So
But you said you just take care up there and get reimbursed on the.
We just manager of the farmer's market, and then she turns it in.
and then she turns it in on behalf.
But she doesn't play us anything.
Well,
that's nice.
That not every farmer does it
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
They put me on the board.
Oh, great. Well, I'm glad to have the contact.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm writing it down on board.
So why I'm in Florida all the time, they meet with me. No, we'll have meet when you're back home, so.
Yeah. Well, they're claiming that it's much easier for everyone, but there's that comfortability for an older adult that we're hearing a lot of feedback on across the state. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We meet Thursday night at 5 o'clock, so I'll pass it on and give
Okay.
you all the information.
Sure thing. I'll send you our most recent update that the Bureau sent for sure.
Very good. Any other commissioner comments? Commissioner Collins? Everybody's good? All right, anything else?
Glad to have you here. I was
Yeah.
Ride over here.
Yeah.
You guys come over.
Beautiful ride, listen to the podcast the whole way.
You guys can spend some dollars on the way out to
Hey.
your respective
I'm
counties.
trying to buy honey from a guy I know, but he never brings any for me.
Well,
So.
they're making it. I just went got a swarm yesterday.
Did you?
It's damn cold in the morning too. I went up the tree and they just kind of popped in my box and it's easy as can.
Was it really? They-
And they're just kind of like, thanks for getting us out of the tree because it's been cold up there. I'm like,
Were you all in your bee stuff?
yeah, because I didn't get stung.
Yeah.
The one day you don't do it like 9 times so far this year. you get stung.
Yeah.
The worst was 3 to the neck. First,
Oh my god.
right together, way country and I was sorry, yeah, breathe.
Oh,
The
no.
backward reaction.
This is it.
So I set back my truck a little bit, turned the heater on, and my ankles just kind of took through immediately right pulled up. Yeah, well, my neck. I didn't put on the proper equipment, and the net stuck to my neck,
Yeah.
and so I was sweating underneath it. Yeah, but then I watched my oxygen level, and it got down to like 80 pounds, and then but no.
You're a beekeeper and you're allergic to bees.
Well, it wasn't that. It just wanted to get better.
I mean,
That was the first 3 of the year.
we'll adjourn on that note.